Welcome back to Beyond the White Coat podcast. Thank you for being here with us. Today's guest is well known by many of you. Uh, Many of you know him as an entrepreneur, as an influencer, as a creator, but even more know him as a surgeon, an orthopedic surgeon to be exact. Welcome, Dr. Iggy, the man, the myth, the legend. It's a pleasure to talk with you today and stopping by the studio here for us to have this chat.
Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. Now, it's clear that you've built quite the brand online and you're one of the voices, one of the most popular voices in medicine out there today. The path to medicine for many of us is a defined blueprint. That means you go to high school, college, medical school, residency, and you become a surgeon. At what point did you know that your path was going to be different?
Well, I chose this path because I wanted a generic path, honestly. I In high school, I was taught about two career paths. One that leads to an open-ended response, and then one that had a definite ending. And that was essentially becoming a lawyer, an engineer, or a doctor. Yes, I'm Nigerian. Maybe it's genetic. Maybe it's conditioning. But I chose that, not wanted it. It wasn't forced on me, to be honest.
You had choice in the matter. It wasn't your mom,
Yeah,
not your dad.
I wanted security.
Sure.
When I realized it was not going to be the case was really the middle of residency when I started to experience the nuances of training in surgery. And I realized that in surgery, there's a strong culture. And that strong culture really puts a lot of pressure to assimilate. Those who assimilate well, get inducted well, they get taught well, they get a lot of good exposure. If you don't assimilate well, you sometimes have some barriers. Not saying you can't get over it, it's just little barriers. And there's some things that may predispose you to that, which we could talk about at another time. But I recognized that I had some of those barriers. And I was
Hmm.
different in a lot of ways that didn't make me mesh well. And so it made it challenging to actually acquire some of the knowledge and some of the experiences that I wanted, that I thought I needed. And in turn, it made me realize that, okay, it made me really look at what was the end point after everything. Because I was always focused on the end point. I was willing to do everything it took to get to that end point.
Mm.
And I realized what it took to get there was a little different from my colleagues. Then I realized I had to do something differently.
Sure.
And so what it wasn't intentional though. This was not an intentional journey.
You didn't go in intending to be a creator or an
No,
influencer. This
never.
it happened upon you.
I hated social media. I deleted Instagram so many times. I deleted it up until my second year of residency. I just felt like it reminded me of the awkwardness of high school. I was always a nerd, but I played sports.
Sure.
So it's like I couldn't win either way. So I
Sure.
was too nerdy for the athletes, but I was like too cool for school for the nerds. So they
Right.
didn't really want to get me in when it came to studying and such. So it just reminded me of that. It's like a popularity contest, and just I never felt like I fit in social media. But I started to use social media as an outlet during the really stressful components of residency.
Mm.
And I found an online community that supported me.
Mm.
So that's when I poured into it.
So, Doc, you've built an incredible community. You mentioned community a few moments ago. And I think the challenge for many highly ambitious, successful folks is that the world and society emphasizes specialization. You're trained to become a doctor, but fulfillment often comes from expansion. And you represent so many different personas online. You're a man of God. You're a Nigerian American. You're an orthopedic surgeon. You're a creator. How do you serve the multiple audiences that consume your content? And because you're so many things at once, it can create tensions in what you put out and who it appeals to. So, how do you navigate content that can be universally appealing while being authentic at the same time?
I've learned how to do it by wrestling with my identity and who I am and understanding who I am.
Mm.
Because you called it out. I'm multifaceted. And in any given environment, some of the facets are beneficial,
Sure.
but then the other facets sometimes are counterintuitive. And so in each of these environments, namely medicine, it's pretty cut and dry, kind of told this is the box you operate within. This is the culture that we accept and don't accept. Me trying to introduce my authentic self to that environment and running into that that friction, it made me have to face myself. I really had to face myself and say, okay, do I want to expend triple energy to be someone that I'm authentically not?
Sure.
Or do I want to bite the bullet and be authentically myself, knowing that it will come with repercussions?
Sure.
And so I bet on myself. And what does that mean? When I found social media as an outlet, of course it was met with opposition. And most of what I was talking about was actually in that season during the pandemic. There was also a lot of social unrest.
Sure.
I was really focusing on encouraging people that look like me who were really downcast because of everything that was going on.
Hmm.
And I felt that using my platform would be beneficial to them. And it was. And I started to meet people who actually pursued medicine because they saw me online.
Mm.
I met a young man
That's
on an
brilliant.
island who
That's
told
brilliant.
me,
Yeah.
he said, I would have never applied to be an orthopedic surgeon if it wasn't for you. I said, really? Where'd you get in? He said, I didn't even get in. I was like, dang. But he said, I would have never tried
Sure.
if I never saw your page. So that's
Sure.
all I needed to hear.
Sure.
And so that's where my faith comes in, because faith overrides everything I see. I'm sorry. God doesn't tell me to disrupt. He says to honor the systems, honor the government, honor authority. He doesn't tell you to just come in and just mess up. No, no, no. But then sometimes even when honoring, you'll meet opposition that doesn't always add up on paper. It didn't add up on paper. I feel like I was a pretty nice guy in residency. Why were people opposing me so much? Why were people so nasty towards me? I don't think I was ever really nasty to them. I never even had the power to be nasty. But I figured there was something underlying that I couldn't put my finger on. And it was opposing the mission that I thought was in my heart for people like that guy, the one who said, I wouldn't have pursued medicine if it wasn't for you. And so things like that help me shape and know how to show up online. It's not always about selling something or puffing myself up to meet the expectations of some entity, my colleagues, or virality. It's really focused on being my authentic self, intentionally knowing how it will benefit someone else. And I'd say that's how I do it. I think of where was I and where can I navigate? How can I navigate conveying this message to this person, this target audience, without compromising my platform? I don't know if that makes sense.
It most certainly does. I think, man, you described that beautifully, and it's clear that you're self-actualized. And I can completely relate to how depleting and discharging it is to show up in certain spaces in medicine and be who they expect you to be. That may not be who you authentically are, because who you really are is not palatable in these spaces for some. And so building a community, having an outlet within social media to kind of share and cope is a powerful tool that I think many of our peers use it similarly, and then find inspiration from folks like you that are putting content out there. It's highly commendable.
Thanks.
Say a little bit more about how do you navigate in real world though, while you're in residency, you're in fellowship, you're new in your career, and there's the old guard of physicians or leaders or administrators who perceive doctor looks like this. If
Mm.
you're a serious surgeon, you should be going home at night and reading textbooks only. And if you have outside interests, there's no place for that within the realm of doctor. Talk about how you've been able to show that you can do it all, um, within reason,
Mm.
but find fulfillment within both medicine and the creative side of you.
You know, it's funny because I say you sound like my mom because recently my mom found me online. Out of all these years, year 7, this is the 7th year I've been on, she found me this year. She's heard from her friends, but now she found me and she can watch my stuff. She can give me direct feedback.
Sure.
My mom sounds like the old school surgeon.
Sure.
And what it sounds like is
And so hold on, your mom is a Nigerian woman,
my mom is pure Nigerian,
lives where? Here
lives in Dallas.
in Dallas. Okay. And moved here before you were born. So
Absolutely.
you were born where?
I was born in Dallas.
In Dallas. Okay. So mom is now plugging into your social media feed.
She's actively giving me feedback.
What's the most jarring feedback she's given you so far?
So a lot of people who follow me online, they know if you follow me for some time, maybe not recently, if you follow me for some time, you know I like to dance. here and there. I might do a TikTok trend here and there. Why? Because I think dancing is a valuable expression of humankind. And I think it conveys something that words cannot do. And it's a medium for connection in so many different ways, not need to be explained. So I use that as a tool to relate to audiences.
Sure.
Well, my mom discovered that one of the most jarring feedback she asked me, she's like, why are you online shaking your neck like that? I wasn't even shaking my neck.
Wait, so
Yeah.
did she not like that you were dancing or how you dance? Like you said, do better and dance better or don't dance at all?
Nah, she just don't like that I'm dancing. She's like, you're a surgeon. You
Fair,
shouldn't be so goofy online. You should be
fair,
serious.
fair. That's the old school surgeon. That's
Which is true.
sure,
She's like, if a patient comes to your page and they see you doing all this, you think they're going to take you seriously?
sure,
Mixed opinions.
sure.
Some would say, I want my surgeon to have a life and be multifaceted. It lets me know that they're overall healthy universally. Some would say, no, I think my surgeon needs to be myopic, only know about and worry about this surgery. My opinion is that obviously surgeons on the selfish side, orthopedic surgery has a very high rate of depression
Mm,
and a very high rate of suicide among surgeons,
mm,
one of the highest. So it tells you that mental health is an underlying issue that no one talks about.
hmm.
I already faced all those issues while in training, and I have
Sure,
a better understanding now.
sure,
So I told you social media was an outlet.
sure.
In a way, it saved me in ways. And yeah, so on one side, I think it's good for surgeons for their own mental health to have that outlet.
Yep,
Whatever it is, they need to have that time to have an outlet to rejuvenate as a human,
sure.
so that on the patient side, they show up as their best self. For patients, to take care of a patient surgically, being myopic, robotic almost in surgery is beneficial because, I mean, in surgery, it's you and that body and anesthesia. I mean, that's it. You got to get down to the problems, solve it, and get out. But when that patient wakes up, that's where almost 90% of the work is.
Sure,
At least in my field of orthopedic surgery,
sure.
the rehab, the PT. And one thing I've really noticed is that a big barrier to patients getting through that is their psychological health. They need to be healthy psychiatrically in order to take on the advice you're giving them, in order to wake up and be motivated to do PT, and in order to eat well and to think well, to be optimistic, because we know optimism affects outcome. So, in
Mm,
my opinion, how can I better support my patients on the back end?
mm,
I show up as my authentic self, online and in person. A lot of my patients, they're not surprised when they Google me that they see who I am online.
sure,
Obviously, I'm not dancing in a room, but
sure.
I'm not really hiding or concealing who I am authentically because that is the most valuable connection I can offer to them beyond surgery.
You speak with the depth of someone who's been practicing medicine for a very long time. And I've had a head start on you. So you guys listening in know that I own my own spine centers and have a multi-location practice. And I tell students that I mentor or shadow me that 90% of the healing happens outside of the operating room. It's inspiring confidence. It's being relatable. It's touching someone when they need to be touched. It's doing the exam and making sure that they know that you know the pain is exactly where they think it is. And there are all these elements to healing, like optimism, like faith, for instance,
Mhm.
that helps the overall patient outcomes. And it's clear to me that doctors who are well-rounded, who are themselves healthy, fulfilled and happy, show up differently for patients than the ones that are not. And patients today are requiring more of us. They no longer want the myopic surgeons or doctors, period, who can't relate, who don't understand how to communicate with them effectively, who they can't trust to see them for who they are.
Mhm.
And so there may be, I think, a movement towards holistic health because, to your point, there's been so much in mental health with docs and the attrition of doctors leaving medicine. They borrow from us to quit medicine and do something else
Mm.
because they're not fulfilled anymore.
Right.
And a large part of it's because they don't all have the outlets that you do,
Right.
or create a space in the community that you can kind of commiserate
Right.
and share experiences that are going to be helpful overall.
Right. And it's not I mean, doing what I do is not necessary for every person. They need an outlet. Like I said,
Sure,
everyone needs an outlet, but the specific outlet is not, it doesn't need to be defined. I, by God's grace, have the opportunity to show people publicly
sure,
because my online hobby is also my medium.
sure.
And so my medium is my outlet.
Mm.
I'm giving people full vent so that I can show by the way how to do this, but at the same time, I'm thoroughly enjoying the process.
So, Doc, we're closing out now. A couple of rapid fire questions for you. The internet has made people better at what and worse at what, in your opinion?
I think the internet has made people better at access to information, but worse at exercising their creativity.
Hmm,
And I think you can just look at AI. I go back and forth with AI all the time. I love playing with AI. The second I rely on AI for creativity, it pisses me off.
sure.
And I think a lot of people think that AI is going to solve a lot of problems for them. They forget that their mind is the greatest creative thing on earth. And if they don't use it, well, they will succumb to an artificial being.
Spoken like a true creative. What is the best thing a mentor's ever taught you?
My mentor, my favorite mentor, taught me this. He said, God is your competitive advantage.
Hmm,
You don't need to worry about what XYZ and other person is doing. You need to into God and understand your purpose in Him, and He will help you fulfill your purpose the way that He wants it, in a way that no one can compete.
hmm.
'Cause you're the only one of you.
What's the fastest way to lose credibility, in your opinion, online?
Dishonesty and a lack of integrity.
Hmm,
The second you lie online, you have to keep building more and more lies to cover up the lie.
hmm,
And the internet is forever and it's unforgiving. And so
hmm.
I see that's like the worst thing that people can do.
I know exactly what you mean. And I think in the medical circles, one of the kind of worst violations could be saying things that you don't have the authority to say yet. Not having walked in the shoes of the folks, or being presumptuous about knowing things that you don't.
Hmm.
We dismiss people quickly if
Yeah.
we find they don't know the details.
Yep.
They're not fact based enough to have certain opinions. Dr. Iggy, it's been a pleasure. We will certainly continue to consume your content. He continues to impress, inspire, and drive folks into expressing their true creative selves while also pursuing their hardcore careers. Thank you so much, Doc. It's a pleasure
Thank
talking to
you.
you.
Nice to finally meet you in person, big brother.
Pleasure.